This is real talk. Real talk radio. This is real talk. High Praise Ministries presents real talk. Real talk. This is real talk. Real talk radio. This is real talk. High Praise Ministries presents real talk. Real talk. Real talk.
I said I wanted to ask because I really, especially as a father, and a black father, that I want to hear your view on it real quick. All the hate coming at LeBron for getting his son in the NBA. What you think? What's your opinion on it first? Let's start with that.
I'm not mad at it at all. I feel like that is a parent's job, a father's job, is to put your kids in the best position to be able to succeed. Now, some people feel like it's a abuse of power by LeBron, but is he really able to make those? I don't know how much power he really has to be like, hey, draft my son. Bronny still has to perform. I mean, as far as I know, I don't believe he has a secure roster spot or anything like that. You know what I mean? Maybe he does. I don't know. Right now, he's just in summer league, but I'm not mad at any. I don't understand what is there to hate on. What are you so upset about? Because I feel like if a lot of people had a parent who was in a similar situation, maybe not basketball, but anything that's able to set your whenever Bronny has a family, something that's able to set his family up for life, generational wealth continued. We all know he's pretty much set anyway because of who his father is. But why not? What's the real problem that you're mad about? Of people, what are you really upset about?
That's what I've been wondering.
I haven't seen anybody really answer that question. And then I feel like the people who are upset, you're just a hater. That's all.
It baffles me because I'm like you said, isn't that what a dad is supposed to do? But then, so out of basketball, we don't get pissed off at the corporate world when white folks make their sons and their daughters executives in a company that they have no idea how to operate.
What's the word for that?
Nepotism.
There you go.
And I got no problem. I got no problem with nepotism.
Me neither.
Like I think the problem that most black folk have with nepotism is we have never really seen us on the positive end of it. And because we've never been in positions historically to really bring nepotism into play in our own families, all we've ever seen is white folks do it and other cultures do it, and it causes us to miss out. So we're like, well, why would you do the same thing? And I'm like, yo, this is what is supposed to happen. And furthermore, society has spent in American culture decades saying black fathers ain't doing nothing for their kids. And here's a black man doing something to set up his kids, set up a legacy.
And not only that,
y'all mad about it?
Never been in trouble, no scandals, pretty clean record his whole entire life. LeBron's never been in any type of trouble. So as far as a black man and a black father who's been a pretty much a role model for not just his kids, but millions of other kids in the world, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. Now, if we want to talk about does Bronny really deserve to be in the NBA with his collegiate career and looking at those numbers,
that ain't what. So here's the thing: when people bring that up and talk about his collegiate career and his collegiate numbers, he doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. I would say, so you're saying that you think with his father being who he is, he doesn't have an opportunity to become better, because there's never been a college athlete who's had piss poor collegiate numbers get better as they got into the NBA and do better. Really? Nobody.
I mean, I don't think.
Now they're not high draft picks, but
that's what I was gonna say. You average 4 points a game, and you were the 55th pick overall. I believe that's what he was. I don't know.
Him being 55th had everything to do with LeBron.
Absolutely, 100%. But yeah, we'll see him. We'll see Bronny, continue to work on his game, get better. That's just.
But here's my thing: even if he don't get better, even if he gets worse, let's just say worst case scenario, he becomes the worst player the NBA has ever seen. Why isn't that we can't fail? Why is it that we have a problem with us being put in a position and then not doing well? No one ever says anything about Ryan Leaf.
A great flop. Or a bust, I should say. But is he really a bust? I mean, listen, when these guys, I mean, I guess they're considered bust amongst their peers. But I really try not to go too hard on people like that because they've accomplished something that I've never done and will never ever be able to do.
And that's
that
where,
most
that's
people
where I'm
in the
getting
world that most people in the world won't be able to do.
And that's where I'm getting at. He's in a position where it's not okay for us who ain't never been there to say this man it don't deserve. I've heard other legendary athletes. I've heard some current athletes like, yeah, give him a chance. Let's see what he do.
Right.
I do the same thing if I cool with my son. So if these people who do this ain't offended by it, why the hell am I offended?
Well, and then I also look at this example too, like Michael Jordan, probably the most powerful, the greatest athlete of all time, basketball player of all time. He had two sons that played in college basketball. Neither one of them panned out to be NBA players. You know what I mean? So that's what's like, okay, Bronny.
But at the same time, Mike wasn't in the same position LeBron was in to be able to help them be. By that time, Mike had been far away from the game.
Right.
I think by the time both sons were ready were eligible to play, he wasn't in even an executive, a powerful executive of enough role to be like, hey, I want my sons playing. Right. Furthermore, let's also, since we're talking about Mike, let's be honest, it doesn't seem like outside looking in, he got the greatest relationship with his kids anyway.
Now, I don't know if that was pre-divorce or post-divorce.
Oh no, it's been like that from what I recall. It's been like that since, man, like early pre-divorce. Like it's been like that for a grip.
Okay.
They just, him and them never, because Mike is known to be a well cheater, and most sons ain't gonna have you cheating on their mom, and we know about it, and we still like you. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a lot of that from again, outside looking in. I don't know the family intimately, just outside looking in, things I've read and seen. So it may have also been like they're like, I'm not playing under you. If I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna get it on my own because I'm not playing under you. It could have been that. LeBron was like, Bronny, I want you on the Lakers. LeBron's like, okay, Dad, sure.
Great relationship with from the outside looking in, from what we can tell, it looks like he has a great relationship with both his kids, both his sons. I know he has a daughter also. We don't really see her much in the limelight like we do Bronny and Bryce.
But it kills me because like when I really start thinking about it, because I've been waiting to hit this, and I plan on the Real Talk podcast really hitting it when I get a chance. It really kills me because it's not just it sparked up the fact it's not just LeBron and Bronny. I started thinking back to LeVar Ball. Niggas did the exact same thing with him, and I'm like, all this man was trying to do was position his sons in the best place possible to do something they love to do anyway, but maximize it.
I think
folks had an issue with him.
I think they didn't like his delivery.
Because he said his sons were the greatest. What else is he supposed to say? They suck?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I was a fan of LeVar Ball. I was, great marketing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But I think most people who didn't like him, I don't think it was so much of really what he was saying. I just think it was they didn't like the delivery of what he was saying and being very bold, and some would say arrogant or cocky about it. But when it comes to sports, you gotta kind of have a little bit of that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some humble guys and that play sports and they're not cocky or anything like that. But I think sometimes it's part of the game.
But I mean, again, what was he realistically? What was he supposed to say? Oh, my sons are average. My son's just honored to be here. No, but
my sons are pretty good. I'm hoping one day that they're great. And yeah, time will tell. And they're going to be working hard to try to be the very best that they can be. That's what people wanted to hear.
Show me one great player's parent who's ever been like that.
I don't know any.
Every parent of every great player in any sport I've ever heard have always said, I know my son's the best. My son's always worked hard to be the best. I knew he was going. I may not have known he's going to be this great, but I knew he was going to be one of the best. Mm-hmm. Never heard them be like, my son's just going to work hard, and we're honored to be here, and they're going to do their best to stack up. Nah. But it's only us that gets that, and I'm like, what really angered me was that both LeBron and Leaire got it from us. It wasn't these other cultures out there hating on them. It's us. Like, nigga, what?
Well, you know how it goes. I mean, I don't know maybe if this situation fits, but the whole crab in the barrel type thing. I feel like a lot of times we do as a people have an issue with that. Yeah, it's cool if you do good, but just not better than me.
Which is crazy because most niggas ain't working hard enough to be able to make that assertion that you can do good but not better than me.
Agreed. And then, I mean, the cloth that I'm from is just like, man, listen, I want to see everybody win. I want to see everybody shine. Like with you and your podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like, podcasting is a competitive, it's not a sport, but it's competitive. You know what I mean? Like, even when you were saying you're comparing numbers, you know what I mean? Things like that, but even so, like, I want to see you do well. I'm not competing really against you, and I got to be better than Jesse, or Jesse has to be better than Marques, you know what I mean? Like I said, it is a healthy, competition thing. Like you said, things that you've seen me do, I kind of wanted you to up what it is that you're doing. The same thing with me when I look at other people's podcasts also, it makes you want to step your game up with things. So I feel like it's healthy competition, but not to the point to where I want to win and I want to see you not succeed.
Facts. And I wish more people had that mentality, because even when I was comparing numbers, that's what I was doing it for. How can I get better? It wasn't so much I got to be better than Marques, but it was like, let me use this as my metric for right now to drive me to get better. I see his numbers getting better. Okay, what can I do to start getting better too? Okay, I can't rest on it. I got to start being more consistent because his numbers are growing. I got to get mine up. Not because I'm trying to overtake you. I'm just using you as the attainable mark. And if I were to ever surpass you, okay, cool. I'm gonna do two things now. I'm gonna look up and find my next mark and strive for that, while looking back and saying, hey, have you thought about trying this? Have you thought about trying this? What can I do to help your podcast? Let me help lift you up. Like, I feel like if we did that more often, stuff would be better. We are, and oh God, I hate getting racial, because while I'm saying something really pisses folk off. If black society as a whole, especially in American culture, did more of that and less finger pointing, so much better off.
I agree with that.
I've been hearing people say it more often. The more I examine the statement, the more I find it to be true. Segregation was the best thing for black folks, and desegregation was the best thing for every other race.
I seen somebody post, it was about the when Kennywood Park, for those people who don't know, maybe in your area, Kennywood Park is like a smaller Six Flags, smaller Cedar Point amusement park, right outside of Pittsburgh. But I guess it used to be a big swimming pool there before it became an amusement park, and it was segregated. So I guess once laws passed that it was desegregated, it was going to be integration, that they just closed the pool down altogether and turned it into an amusement park.
Wow, that I didn't know.
I had made a comment on the person who shared it. Shout out to Sheena Ball. I think she's married. I don't know if her last name is Ball anymore, but you know what I'm talking about. She made the post, and her caption was, "We're all the black folk." People were commenting on her like, we weren't allowed in there. We couldn't be in there yet. It was segregated. And I made a comment on there that said, some will say that integration was the worst thing that has happened to black people.
And it's true. And here's why. Because I do my best to back stuff up with facts and not feeling, right? When we had segregation, as hard as it was on us, we were more reliant on us.
Correct.
And uplifting each other as well as making sure ourselves were uplifted. Desegregation happened and the standard got dropped. We stopped relying on us for us and started looking to them and relying on their help to get, like we would help each other when segregation was a thing. And so we lost that camaraderie, that unity, that segregation forced on us. We shopped at black markets because we could only shop at black markets. We did black banks and black business because it's really all we could do and get a fair shake. Now the world is opened up to us. Bump down, let me go over to here. And then we go try and deal with them. And so it has caused all of our dollars, all of our innovation, all of our power to leave our community and go elsewhere because they were always seen as the standard. And rather than collectively building ourselves up so we become the standard, let me go mix with the standard. And that, for me, that's look. The older I get, the more of a problem I see that is because it is so hard to find quality stuff by black folks.
Correct. So that's why, like, when people would want to boycott things for whatever reason, and you don't have anything to take place of it, it's kind of hard to do that. You know what I mean? Like to boycott, let's say you want to boycott Walmart and what grocery stores do you have? We got Giant Eagle up here. Do y'all have Giant Eagle?
We got Giant Eagle. We got some saying we got Giant Eagle, Kroger, Eagles,
okay.
Walmart, all the same things.
So to say you're going to boycott all of those, what are you going to replace that with?
Right.
You know what I mean? And those are things that we don't have. Like, yeah, I mean, if I had the opportunity, I'd like to shop everything, all black business. You know what I mean? But that's just not the way that it's set up anymore. There's certain things that you can do, and only purchase as far as from a black business. But for the majority of the things that you need or that you want, that's just it's not produced by us.
And I holistically believe, and until somebody's able to statistically and factually show me different, I holistically believe that's in large part due to integration. Because our innovation has gone to other business, to white business and other business now, where before we would start it ourselves and do it ourselves. Now we take what we would do and give somebody else a profit, and then have the audacity to complain that they're taking it from us. Well, some of the stuff we're giving away. Let's stop acting like they're taking everything. A whole lot of this stuff we're giving away, and because we're giving it away, we're not setting up a legacy, and we're not setting up something to be for. So I'm a huge wrestling fan, right?
Right.
Vince McMahon, as horrible of a person as he turned out to be, set his family up. Every member of his family are multimillionaires.
Filthy rich.
He set them up in the business first, and they gained money, gained experience under his umbrella to be able to understand how to deal with business. And now they can branch out and do whatever they want. His son-in-law, who started as a wrestler,
Triple H,
once he was no longer able to wrestle, was engrafted into the business side of it under Vince, learned how to operate the business from a business perspective, and now he's basically running the show.
Right.
So as much as it's no longer Vince's because of what he did, forced him out of the company, and TKO bought the company and all this other stuff, his name is still in the business because his son-in-law's there, and every so often you're going to see his daughter. Like you can't escape WWE and the McMahon name. It just won't ever happen. He set it up to be that way.
Right.
Triple H is setting up his children to be able to understand the business now. Whether they want to get into it or not, whole different story. But they're understanding. And so when time comes to start passing shares to somebody, it's going to their kids. We don't do that. So I'm excited for LeBron. I'm more excited for what LeBron and Bronny's combination should start pushing us to do, more so than I am worried about whether or not Bronny is a good player or not. Like, this will be the first year in his entire career that I will actively root for LeBron James to win a ring. If Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors can't win it, I want it to be LeBron. I want LeBron to get a ring with his son.
That would be very interesting. First time ever, because this is the first time in history that a father and son have. We've seen it in sports. Ken Griffey and his dad. I don't believe we've seen. Maybe it's one that I'm missing, but never have we seen one and they've won a championship together.
That's what I want. Like I
people will definitely think it's rigged, Jesse. People will say that the NBA is fixed and there is a script if that happens year one.
My response to that would be, most of y'all think it's rigged anyway.
That's true.
And whether or not it's rigged or not doesn't stop this thing from being historical. It doesn't stop it being from something now you have to talk about for the rest of history. As long as basketball is a thing, you will have to address this.
Forever.
So, forever. So I'll take it. If it's scripted, cool. I'll take it. Script away. Hell, let them win 78 games.
Ooh.
I'm
best
all
record
for
ever.
all of it. I'm all for all of it. I am not a LeBron fan. Have never been a LeBron fan. I've been an active.
Wait. You've never liked LeBron?
Never.
What is it that you can dislike about him?
It's not that I dislike him per se. Well, at the beginning of his career, I did.
You dislike his game, or you don't dislike him?
Yeah, at the beginning of his career, I didn't like him. It wasn't just like I had issue. I'm not a LeBron fan. I just liked him. I'm like, because I was upset at the fact that we're putting all this on this young man as the new face of the league, and Kobe Bryant's sitting right there. I still get ticked off that people will have leapfrog Kobe like Kobe was a scrub. Kobe's number 2 all time. I don't care. You can put LeBron there if you want to. He's not. He's not better than Kobe, and I'll argue that to my dying day. Right. So I was early on. I was upset about that. Then I became upset at the way he did business. And that's on the court stuff, just the way he handled some things. I feel like there are decisions he could have made, and not so much the decision, because he didn't owe anybody anything at that point. The dude was a free agent. He played his contract out. As a matter of fact, everywhere he's played, he plays the contract out before he moves. So I was never upset about that. It's about how over and over again I've watched him complain about his team after he's the one who built his team. And then here come the All-Star break. I need more help. Well, you're the one who got this team together in the first place. These people are on the squad because of you. Now you're disregarding them to get some other folks on there and hoping you get some help. That ticked me off. I also hate the Jordan LeBron comparison in terms of his game, because they always say LeBron's a better leader. He's not. And what people will point to is they'll say, well, if you look at when LeBron leaves a team, those teams wind up being the worst team in the league when they just came off of playoff runs and championship games while he was there. That's because you don't understand what real leadership is. A real leader sets it up so that even if I'm not there, the thing that I am leading operates as a well-oiled machine. So Michael leaving the Bulls the first time when he retired the first time, and the Bulls being 2 games worse and still making the playoffs is not a sign that Mike wasn't a good leader, wasn't as good a player as people say he was. It's absolutely a sign that he absolutely was that dude. He made all of them better. Scotty was not that dude when he first got to the Bulls, And even Scotty said it before Scotty started getting pissed off at Mike. Right. Phil has said it. None of those players in that first Bulls run were as good as they were before Mike. All of them were better after Mike. So I didn't like his leadership. I don't, for his game, for me, it is that killer. I need my leader to be the one to be comfortable taking the bullet. Screw the right basketball play. I know what smart basketball says to say, but sometimes as the leader, as the face, as the one we're looking to, you can't make the right play. You have to make the play. And too oftentimes he didn't do that. I feel like he didn't get criticized enough for some things that any other non-Michael Jordan player would have gotten criticized for. Who do you know as a superstar player has ever been accused of quitting in the middle of a championship series other than LeBron James?
No one that not a superstar that I know of.
Exactly.
Well. Are we calling Scottie Pippen a superstar?
Yes, and he's gotten criticized. Matter of fact,
you're right. When he didn't go into the game,
hell for it.
Right,
with a headache.
Was it with that, and was it he didn't want to go into the game because they were drawing up the play for Tony Kukoc?
Oh yeah, that play. Yeah. Oh, he caught hell for that.
Right.
And still to this day catches hell for it. People overlook that with LeBron. Randy Moss, whole different sport, still catches hell for walking out of the game when on the sideline when Oakland they were still going to lose, but it's close to it. That they had a shot, he walked off. He still catches hell for saying for talking about how he sometimes takes plays off. But LeBron, I'm supposed to overlook? You were accused, and not even just accused. It is visible. We can see you play differently in this series once you knew this was out of hand.
I also don't like my superstars flopping. I understand it's a different game today. But growing up in the era that we grew up in, it was pretty much no blood, no foul.
Absolutely.
Type of league. Again, I understand that the game has changed. They want to protect players. All of that. Also, the load management, I don't like.
I can't stand that. How is your body in better condition and you play less games than people whose bodies weren't in better condition? You spent $3 million on your body, bro.
And then, fans will say other former players, former superstars. A lot of people don't have a lot of money to go to a bunch of NBA games, unless you're fortunate to have season tickets or something like that. But if I paid my hard-earned money for me and my son, or me and whoever, or people in general to go see LeBron James play, and this may be my only opportunity to see you play, and you decided to take tonight off because of you played, I don't know, you just want to take a break. I have an issue with that. If you're not hurt for real, you should be playing.
I think in his career, and that actually load management started with the Spurs. That's their fault. Yeah. But I hate it too. Like I think in Mike's career, he only not played 82 games plus, like 4 times maybe.
Yeah, majority of his career he played all 82. But I think teams get fined now for
which isn't enough.
Management.
Which isn't enough.
It's a slap on the wrist. These teams have the money to pay those little fines.
And so, like, here's my other thing with that, right? So, to me, that also shows that goes back to that killer. Like, don't you want to win? I'm not taking a game off because I want to win, especially if I'm a caliber athlete of LeBron James. I know my presence on the court gives my team the best chance to win. Put me on the flipping court.
Agreed. And of course, I am nowhere near or ever was the caliber of basketball player that LeBron James was. Like, not even close. I'm light years away from being the type of player LeBron was. But yeah, I do understand, and not that LeBron doesn't have a winning mentality, but it was like, yo, anytime I play, we could be playing 33 outside, you know, with me and 3 or 4 of the homies. I want to win. You know what I'm saying? 2-on-2, 3-on-3, whatever it is that we're doing. I want to win every single time. If I lose, let's run it back. I want to run it at least until I get a win. I want to run this back. So, you know, and then maybe it's a point, just a point in time of the season where it's like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. After All-Star break, you know, that's when, you know, I'll turn it up a notch. But a lot of times, you know what I mean, those games at the beginning of the season put you in, you know, if you're not winning those games, put you in a position to where now you have to win X amount of games, and now you're really exhausting yourself and all of that because you're in a, like I said, you're in a position to where, hey, we have to win these next 10 out of 18 games just to make the playoffs. But had you, you know, performed a certain way earlier in the season before All-Star break, you wouldn't be in this position.
And that's what gets on my last nerve about him. So like it was all of those things. Plus, I always hated, especially now. Like I respect his longevity, I respect his accomplishments, but I still am not a fan of his. And now it's more of, oh well, Michael Jordan couldn't do this in his last years, yada yada yada. Right? People forget that when Michael played for the Wizards, who people try to act like he never played for because it didn't end in championships, when he started playing for the Wizards, they were one of the worst teams in the league.
Right.
He had them both seasons he played for the Wizards. He had them on the verge of making the playoffs, and the second season he got hurt. And he was every player who played on that squad and played against him says that Michael Jordan was on the verge of being back to Michael Jordan. He was averaging 24 and something.
Yeah, I've heard former players talk about how he was still busting their ass at 40 years old, 38 years old.
And he didn't take anywhere near the care of his body that LeBron did. So the narrative that keeps happening for people with LeBron, even in the conversation with Mike, aggravates me. So I've never been a fan of his. As a player, as a person, he's light years above what most people would consider for an athlete of his caliber to be. The grace that he has carried, the burden of being the face of the league even way too early with, he carried that with grace, like you said, with no scandals. He was able to do things. He managed business. He kept his people around him, kept his circle tight. He helped put them all in positions to have business and be successful. Like, what he has accomplished as a person, second to none. I'm just not a fan of his player. But this season right here, let's go LeBron. Get that ring, dude.
I can't say I like LeBron. He had a lot of expectation on him coming right out of high school, and he's lived up to all of it. And maybe some people will say he is overexceeded.
Well, I think he's absolutely overexceeded.
You know what I mean? What people thought people knew he was going to be a great player. Or really good when he came into the league, but what he's been able to do over the last 20 plus years, we probably won't ever see this again. You know,
see, I
first off, I don't believe anybody's ever going to break his scoring record because I don't think anybody's going to play long enough. I mean, of course, you can't come out of into the NBA straight out of high school anymore. So I think that record is.
I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why.
You think it'll be broken?
Absolutely. LeBron was never a great three-point shooter. The game is all threes now. He's gotten better over time. Like his percentage has gone up a little bit over time, but he was never a great three-point shooter. You get these young cats coming out of college now, shooting threes and hitting them.
But are they going to
stay consistent?
Are they going to have
that record's easy? See, that's the thing with hitting threes, with the number of threes that NBA teams are putting up nowadays, and the number of threes that players individually are shooting nowadays. You don't need as much longevity.
You got to at least give at least 10 to 15 years. You have to.
Well, And I would say 10 to 15, and 10 to 15 is not abnormal for a great player. In order to be able to be in the discussion of being able to break the scoring record, you're gonna still have to be a great player.
And that's 10 to 15. That's 10 to 15 healthy years.
Nah. And that's the thing. You won't need fully healthy years. LeBron does not play 82 straight games. So
That's
you
true.
get a couple of 60 to 70 game seasons and you hitting threes at a good clip, you got a shot.
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a rough. It may not happen in our lifetime.
I don't think what I don't think will happen is I don't think we will see somebody ever again hit 8 straight finals.
Oh no, I don't
think that'll ever happen.
Either.
But that's not something I hold in high regard because you lost most of them. But ain't nobody ever been that many. So is Jim Kelly the greatest quarterback of all time?
No.
Jim Kelly went to 4 straight Super Bowls. No other quarterback has gone to 4 straight. Is Thurman Thomas the greatest running back of all time? 4 straight Super Bowls. No running back has ever done it.
But is it an argument to say Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, who won no Super Bowls, never even made one?
So the reason that you can argue that Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, which is an argument I disagree with, but the reason that you can argue that is because now you also have to look at his impact on the game.
Okay.
What he was able to do with a sorry Detroit team when he got there, carried them to relevancy and to playoffs and a playoff win, something they hadn't done in ages before he got there. And ages after him. Like, his impact on the game is too great to not put him in the discussion. I would not call him the greatest. I would call the
top
greatest
5?
person. Oh, absolutely top 5.
Okay.
Greatest running back of all time for me, however, is the person everybody loves to hate on who played in the same era. I'm Emmett all the way.
As also a Cowboys fan, I mean, I think we have to put him there simply because of his numbers.
And that's the thing.
I didn't like his style of. It's not like he wasn't very fast. He wasn't extremely shifty.
See, no, that's where people make the mistake. He listened to players who played against him. He absolutely was. He didn't have the jump out at your face shifty speed that Barry did. Emmett had the misfortune of playing at the same time Barry Sanders did. Nobody was doing what Barry Sanders did, so everything else in comparison was subpar. Go back and watch Emmett's runs. Emmett had a 3-step shimmy that juked a lot of people. He had power that would run over you. He has outrun some people, and he was also a workhorse. People, the biggest knock on Emmett is his line, but people forget Emmett was doing this in college. This was the yards, the way he ran, his ability to find the end zone was not because he had this huge offensive line. And here's the proof of it. Was it 94? No, 95, I think it was. When Emmett decided I'm sitting out because I outplayed my contract. I want a new contract. Jerry Jones wasn't going to give it to him. Cowboys went, I think it was 0-3, 0-4. No running back that they had hit 100 yards at all. Emmett comes in next game, once they gave him his contract, 100 yards. Touchdowns. Cowboys win.
Right.
So when people look at the line and say, oh, it was the line, it was not. Because other running backs played behind that line and didn't do what Emmett did. Emmett gets a lot of non-credit. He, to me, is starting to get the same kind of hate. Well, he got the same kind of hate that Michael Jordan is starting to get because Michael Jordan played with people who were great that he helped make great.
Okay. Now, let's take Barry Sanders, put him on the Cowboys. Or let's switch them.
Okay.
Emmett on the Lions, Barry Sanders on the Cowboys.
Cowboys aren't getting three in 4 years.
No, you don't think so?
No. They'll get one. They'll get one, maybe 2 in 4 years. They're not getting 3 in 4 years. And the Lions will absolutely, at the very least, get to a Super Bowl.
Really?
Absolutely. Emmitt Smith did some things that Barry Sanders did not, and did it well. Emmitt could catch the ball.
True.
Emmitt blocked better. Emmitt was a leader, vocal leader. That's what the Cowboys needed. That's really what the Lions needed too. He's a vocal leader. So you're not getting. Also with Barry on the Cowboys, they're not running the way that they ran. Barry ran best without a fullback. Emmitt ran best with a fullback. So you got Moose Johnson. Now you remove Moose Johnson. Now you remove some of your protection. Now you remove another option for Troy Aikman to throw to. You just don't have the same team. Removing Barry and putting Barry on the Cowboys and removing Emmitt, you are recrafting the entire Cowboys chemistry and the way they operate. And so that's why they wouldn't get that. They wouldn't get those titles. Barry is not the kind of player. I know a lot of people love him, and I love Barry. I loved Barry Sanders. Barry was not, however, the kind of player that fit in every organization. He absolutely would not have been a fit for the Cowboys. Emmitt, however, in his prime, especially, was a fit no matter where you put him. They're both workhorses.
You think he would have been good in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh would have way more championships if he got to Pittsburgh.
Really?
Absolutely. Emmitt is better than any Pittsburgh running back that has ever been, and I stand on that. And that's not because I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers hater. I respect the great running backs in Pittsburgh. I have to. I grew up in the area. I respect the Franco Harrises and the Dodge minivans, Jerome Bettises. I respect them. I do. I crap on them because I hate Pittsburgh Steelers as a fan, but I respect what they do. Respect their legacy. Respect what they did in the game. But the kind of style that Emmitt ran and how he wanted to run is absolutely suited for Steel City. Huh. You put Emmitt Smith on the Steelers squad that we beat in '96, Pittsburgh wins. You put Emmitt.
Was it Bam?
I think it was Bam Morris.
Foster? Bam Morris. Okay, I know it was Bam Morris, Barry Foster, one of the two.
He's better than both of them.
I agree with that.
You put him on did Pittsburgh lose to Seattle?
In the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
They beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. That was their first one.
They had a dog walk Seattle.
Pittsburgh should have lost, but they won. So.
Pittsburgh would have dog walked Seattle, left no doubt.
You're taking Emmitt over Beast Mode.
Yes. I'm taking Emmitt over. I can't think right now off the top of my head any running back I'm taking over Emmitt Smith. Old or new.
Interesting.
His intangible, and again, people will hate on that, call me, I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about sports or whatever, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's not the line. The line was grisly. I'm not taking anything away from our ability to have one of the best offensive lines in football history. But the line did not make the running back. Yes, the holes were wide open. You know why the holes were also wide open? Because Emmitt was good enough to hit him when they started to open. Emmitt could recognize the hole was going to open before it opened. Emmitt was hard to bring down. People who've hit him said, I don't want to hit Emmitt. Emmitt was not that dude who you're going to tackle and not come away knowing you just got hit. Like, that wasn't Emmitt's game. That's part of why he didn't last as long as he should have. Because near the end of his career, he was taking hits that he shouldn't have taken because he's still trying to win. He went to Arizona and still was a factor.
I wish he had just retired before that happened.
he felt like he could still play a few more and proved it.
I just hate to see the greats go. You know what I mean? I know it's a business and teams move on. You know, we always want to get younger and, you know, stay as young as we can, and also good. But like with MJ, with Jordan, I wish that he leaves the game on the last shot, the little mini push off on Byron Russell.
Now that I wish. I wish. I understand why he left. Actually, I didn't want him to leave on that. I wanted him to stay a Bull. I wanted to see just how far this Bull thing could have gone.
Now, some will say though, those 2 years that he was, or year and a half that he had retired, he was gone, that they probably would not have beaten Houston in those championships.
Yes, they would have. See, and it's not like over MJ fandom, because I was Hakeem Olajuwon. So let me put this in perspective. My favorite player of all time is Charles Barkley. So I'm not an MJ stan. Like I was a huge MJ fan, but I'm not an MJ stan. I'm a Barkley stan. I feel like the Suns got cheated in '96. Scottie Pippen in Game 6 fouled Kevin Johnson on that steal when KJ pulled up at I think it was around the free throw line and pulled up for the J right before the buzzer hit, and Scottie blocked him. He fouled him. That's how much. The reason that's so vivid in my mind is because I feel like they got screwed. I'm a huge Barkley fan, right?
What they win?
MJ's number 2.
4-2.
Say again.
They won that series 4-2, Chicago.
Yeah, but KJ hits that shot. It's fourth. It goes to Phoenix now for Game 7. And no, that was Game 6. Phoenix is not losing Game 7 in Phoenix. They tied that up 3-3. Phoenix is winning in Phoenix. It's not even a question. Barkley was the best player in the league then. It's not conjecture. It's statistical fact.
Yeah, he was MVP that year, right?
Yes, he was. KJ was one of the best point guards in the league then. Thunder Dan Marley was a sharpshooter. They had a squad. And this is why Chicago was having problems with them. It just is what it is. They also had the best record in the league that year.
Yeah. I didn't know you were a Barkley fan like that. That's
huge Barkley fan. Barkley early on had the same mentality I've carried with me the majority of my life. He said, "I'm not a role model." People keyed in on that. I keyed in on the attitude he had with that. Him saying, "I'm not a role model, man. I don't really care what you think." Since you grew up with me, you know, skinny kid with permed hair and quit. I don't care what nobody thought.
I actually almost forgot about the perm, bro.
Listen, if it didn't take so much for me to manage it, I would still rock it to this day.
Wow.
I loved it. I just took too much to manage it, too much time, too much money.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
That's how much I didn't care. I didn't care what folks like. Everybody, their mom was like, cut that hair, cut the hair, cut the hair. Screw you, I ain't cutting the hair. It's my hair, nigga. You ain't got to wear it. That's the kind of mentality Barkley had. At the time, Mike was he wasn't quiet, but he was quiet where he wasn't saying anything out loud that people would hear that let you know he don't really care what you think, until he was like, Republicans were about Jordans too. Whatever. Barkley told the whole world, I don't care what you think. Stop letting your little stupid kids look up to me and be a parent. Nobody was saying some crazy stuff like that at the time. Everybody's trying to kiss people's butt to get that dollar. Barkley didn't care about that. Right. Favorite player of all time. And arguably, in Michael's era, the second best player in the world.
At that time?
At that time.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that.
Mike's my number 2. Hakeem Olajuwon's my number 3. Hakeem Olajuwon is underrated as one of the best big men of all time.
You think he's underrated?
He used to give Shaq the business. And everybody say that Shaq is one of the greatest of all time. I rarely hear Hakeem Olajuwon's name come up when we're talking about the greatest big men of all time. People put him top 10 and not top 3.
I've heard some people say he's the greatest center of all time. When it comes to Shaq, we always hear the most dominant.
And I disagree, because I feel like Hakeem was more dominant.
Really?
Yes. Shaq was a bully. But bullies only can be bullies in their bully element. Hakeem had a post game. Hakeem had a mid-range game. Hakeem had a sneaky long-range game. He wasn't shooting three, but he had a sneaky long-range game. Hakeem could drive. Hakeem could play defense. Hakeem was able to shoot free throws. What aspect of the game was he not good in and dominating in? Shaq was dominant under the boards, and you could not stop him from getting under the boards. But if he came across a dude with a little bit of size and strength, he wasn't putting up 30. He's putting up 20, 22. It's still a good game. Still dominant. Lakers still win. But it's not that 30. Hakeem struggled with nobody.
So you're taking Hakeem in his prime over a prime Shaq?
Absolutely. Without question, it's not even close. Hakeem gave Shaq the business. Every time they matched up, Hakeem gave David Robinson the business. Hakeem gave Patrick Ewing the business. He gave everyone work. He was my number 3. And I'm telling you right now, as stacked and as good as that Houston team was, Bulls would beat them.
Okay.
They had no answer for Mike. Bulls had no answer for Hakeem. But Mike is touching the ball more than Hakeem. All you have to do is find a way to stop getting Hakeem, stop letting Hakeem touch the ball.
Hey, don't forget, Houston had Mad Max.
Yeah,
He's a lockdown defender.
Who do you know in Michael Jordan's entire career locked him down?
Nobody ever. I mean, he ever started for his career.
Exactly. And then you've got the worst Robin in history, but one of the better players in the league, Scottie Pippen there. So you got to make a choice. Are you going to lock down Mike or are you going to lock down Scottie?
Yeah.
They had no one other than Hakeem who was a crazy offensive fixture that was going to put in that work. Clyde Drexler at the time was old and wasn't doing what he was doing.
About the same age as Jordan.
Yeah, but his body wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't doing anywhere near what he was doing in Portland. He was Clyde the Glide in Portland.
Right.
He was Clyde the Hop in Houston.
Okay, I'll give you that.
You had a young Robert Horry who wasn't a real sharpshooter then. You had ugly Sam Cassell who played no real defense.
Yeah, what else you have? Otis Thorpe.
And that's why I rolled my eyes, because you don't even remember Otis Thorpe.
Otis. You like coming to see you, Otis?
A Bulls team, either run is waxing Houston.
Okay.
I'll give Houston one game.
Wow.
Bulls give them a gentleman's sweep.
5-1. That's interesting. Okay, so do you take the what year was that the Bulls won 72-10? Is that 96? Or was it 98?
I think it was no. I think it was 90. Might have been 90. Let me look it up. I think it was 98.
Okay. Might have been. I think it might. I think you're right. It might have been 98.
No, we're both wrong. It's 96.
Okay.
You're right the first time. It's 96.
Okay, cool. All right. So do you take the 96 team over, what year was that the Warriors went, what they go, 73-9?
Yes.
You taking the Warriors?
Yes. Here's the thing. And I'm going to catch hell when people hear this. Kevin Durant is overrated.
Overrated's a bit extreme.
No, it's not. So here's some facts for you. Tell me when he has won anything of significance that when he was not with the Warriors.
Was he ever a scoring champ?
No.
Kevin Durant's never won a scoring championship ever.
Not before he was with the Warriors. No. In OKC, he shared time. He shared the ball with Russell Westbrook, who was much more ball dominant then, which is one of the reasons why he left OKC. People forget the fact that the same year that the Warriors blew their 3-1 lead to the Cavaliers, they just came off of coming back from, I think it was 3-1 down to OKC. Kevin Durant, as much as Russell Westbrook, disappeared in Game 7. Kevin Durant was not a killer in OKC. So he gets overrated there because he comes fresh from OKC to a Warriors team and becomes dominant. It's very easy to be dominant when you have a prime Steph Curry, a prime Klay Thomas, and a prime Draymond Green playing with you. Who you gonna guard? Not that Draymond Green was an offensive giant, but he knew how to create offense. Who you gonna guard? So he leaves OKC. And where does he go? Goes, well, Brooklyn?
Yes.
What they do in Brooklyn?
From OKC, I thought he went.
OKC to the Warriors. Then I think it was Brooklyn he went to next.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
What did he do there? They had a stacked team. What they do there?
I just think the chemistry wasn't there.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna blame it on chemistry. Okay, cool, no problem. Okay, so then it goes to Phoenix. Goes from Brooklyn to Phoenix. And what happened?
Chris Paul falls apart.
So we're gonna blame it on Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But he's your fan. He's your franchise. He's your number one player. So let me tell you what that's like. That's like blaming a Bulls loss on Scottie Pippen because Scottie Pippen disappeared.
Okay.
And Michael Jordan's on the court. That's like blaming the loss on Kyrie Irving when you have LeBron James on the court. Kevin Durant is your best player on the court. Why is a sub player getting the blame when your best player disappears?
I mean, Chris Paul's the floor general.
Kevin Durant is your best player. When have we ever blamed when Shaq and Kobe were together? Shaq was dependent on Kobe and others to get him the ball, right? Just like Kevin Durant, right?
Right.
When have we ever blamed the loss on Kobe when Shaq was on the court?
Not often. None that I could think of.
It's never happened. They always look to Shaq first. Because it was Shaq's team that was supposed to be Kevin Durant's team. I can't blame the losses on Chris Paul.
Wait, what team was supposed to be Kevin Durant's? Brooklyn?
Every team Kevin Durant has been on, with the exception of the Warriors.
Okay.
He was Robin on the Warriors. He was a steroided up Robin.
I didn't like the move. I don't
to
like
the Warriors. I love the move to the Warriors.
I disliked it. Maybe it's just because of the era again that we come from. I'm not for losing. Like they said, imagine Jordan going to play for the Pistons because he just.
So here's the difference with that. If Jordan had the opportunity to play with the Pistons, his contract was up and went there, I'd love it.
I don't think he does it simply because I want to.
I think he does.
Guys. I think he wanted to beat them so bad he would have never joined them.
He was one of the main reasons that Robin got to the Bulls.
Agreed.
So he would have done it. If he had the opportunity to do it, he would have done it.
I don't know, man. I think because he was so competitive.
Let's not over mysticize the legend of Michael Jordan. He wanted to win first. And if his best chance to win is by joining up with these niggas who win, and I can still be Michael Jordan, I'm going to win. I'm going with Detroit. He didn't have the chance to do it.
I think it just doesn't look good for him for his legacy.
He don't care about look. You know what winds up happening over time? Look fades, rings stay.
But like here we are still talking. People will still criticize KD for the ring that he got with the Warriors.
And you know why? Because KD hasn't gotten a ring since. Because the narrative that was given at the time when he left the Thunder to go to the Warriors, aside from, oh my God, I can't believe he joined the team that beat him, he's soft and all that. But aside from that narrative, it was Russell Westbrook and the Thunder were holding Kevin Durant back.
Correct.
He gets to Golden State, starts winning championships. Oh my God, it's true. They held him back. Him and Draymond have that little tiff. He packs up his bag and goes home and goes to Brooklyn. He's going to show him now They needed him. He didn't need them because they went when they lost to LeBron and the Cavaliers. They flew all the way across the country and begged him to join the Warriors and all this stuff. That was the narrative. And he loses consistently in Brooklyn. And then he goes to Phoenix and loses consistently in Phoenix. Meanwhile, Steph got himself another ring. So the narrative shifted because the rings didn't come to match what the narrative was. You were not the dominant player. You were not as good as we thought. You're a good Robin. Because the only time you won was when you weren't expected to be the guy. He wasn't expected to be the guy in Golden State. He was a guy. That was still Steph's team. Steph was like, we're going to make sure he gets the ball. Let him get his 30 plus. Let him get these MVPs. As long as I get the ring, I don't care. But you know what the focus was? Focus was on Steph. Steph was constantly moving, disrupting defenses. Clay was constantly moving, disrupting defenses. That left KD wide open to get shots. The focus couldn't be centered on KD. Because if we focus on KD, Steph's going off for 45. Clay's going off for 50.
I don't think anybody in the NBA. Are we still saying KD's in his prime right now? Or is he's on the back end?
He's on the back end of his prime, if anything. Okay. I'll call him the back end of his prime.
All right. I don't think there's anybody in the league since he came to the league that could guard him.
Not being able to be guarded don't make you
a 7-foot guard. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Because Karl Malone was a problem. I don't consider him the greatest power forward to ever play the game. I don't consider him top 5.
Close. You don't consider him top 5? Best power forward ever?
Karl Malone was just dirty.
Who the 5 you put in front of him?
I'd have to do some real thinking, but off the top of my head, I know Barkley is absolutely going first.
So you're probably going Barkley, you're going
Duncan,
to go Tim Duncan, you're going to go KG.
Oh, absolutely. KG is absolutely better than Karl Malone. Absolutely.
Okay.
Karl Malone, he's top 10, but he's dirty. So like, but he was also, because he was dirty, he was also a legitimate problem when he was on the court. Like, it was hard to guard Karl. I'm not taking anything away from that. But he wasn't the best.
I never looked at him as you know, I wasn't a big fan of his game.
He was dropping between 20 and 30 a night.
But I'm not a big fan of Tim Duncan's game either.
I love Tim Duncan. Mr. Fundamentals, I love his boring game.
Too fundamental for me. I like fundamentals and all of that, but it's like, man, this is boring. This is like watching paint.
I loved his boring game.
Yeah.
I loved his boring game because it pissed everybody off and it frustrated the competition.
And see, like you were saying, your all time. Of course, I think we can agree. Everybody in our age range will consider Michael Jordan to be the best, the greatest.
As they should, as every age range should.
Okay, right. But my favorite player of all time is Allen Iverson.
I get that.
You know, yeah.
You reminded me a little of AI when you played, so I get that.
Okay, so and there was 3 guards, and again, when it came to playing basketball, I was all right. You know what I mean? But nothing on the caliber of, you know, I wasn't on anybody's radar to play college ball. Not anything like that. But there were guards that I wanted to model my game after. Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis.
Steve Francis, underrated beast.
Agree. So those were 3 guards, you know what I mean, in my teenage years that I wanted to. If I could have taken all 3 of those guards and made them into one guard, that's what I would have liked to do. But yeah, you know, Iverson is Jordan. When I think about Michael Jordan, he came in the league when I was born. So the first 3-peat, it's not very vivid to me. You know.
Thank you for making me feel old yet again.
I'm just saying. So around the second 3-peat, we figured that the one in '96. I'm 11. I'm going to turn 12 that fall. So 96, 97, 98, those are the ones that really stick out to me. You know what I mean? So as I'm, coming to my teenage years, Michael Jordan is on the back end of his career. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, you see the commercials, Michael Jordan's great, we want to be like Mike, but if you were, 15, 16 in the year 2000, I think that was 2000 when the Sixers when they played the Lakers in the finals, we all wanted to be like Allen Iverson, not Michael Jordan. Yeah, we acknowledge, Michael Jordan's the greatest, he got 6 rings, all of this, but man, like we wanted to play.
But that's only because that's a generational difference. Like,
yeah, I agree.
The reason AI was so great, because to me, it's another blasphemous statement. As a top 5 guard, AI was overrated. He was more impactful than he was effective, and I mean impact on the game as a whole. His swag, the way he went about carrying himself, how he was hard work when he needed to be, that kind of attitude, it began to spread through the NBA. Like, I'm gonna be authentically me. It spread through the NBA, right? So that elevated his status. But if you really examine the numbers,
correct. Shooting percentage kind of low. Volume shooter. But like
now,
you said, his impact
I don't wholly
on the
blame
game
that on
was
him.
crazy.
I don't wholly blame that on him because he had a horrible squad around him that he carried to an NBA championship game to get dusted by a stacked Lakers team. But
then he plays with Melo.
Yeah, but Melo wasn't really Melo at the time those two played.
That's prime Melo?
Nah, Melo's still learning how to be Melo because Melo's still dealing. And there's a problem with Melo, right?
I mean, we talk about Melo being 6, 7 years in the league at this time, no?
Yeah, but Melo was still learning how to be Melo at that time because Melo's still dealing with the myth that's LeBron James.
Okay.
He had the unfortunate position of being drafted in the same class as LeBron. So nothing I do can be great because this 18, 19-year-old kid over here is killing the league.
But if he goes to if the Pistons draft Melo instead of what was his name, Darkovich, whatever his name is, Melo has a few championships.
Yes, but instead he got to subpar Denver, carried them on his back for as long as he could, and they got paired with old AI who had a chip on his shoulder at that point in time as well. We're gonna win a chip. That's not a good representation of Melo or AI at all.
It kind of does hurt that I understand Iverson not getting a ring, just never put anything around him. But it does kind of hurt that Melo didn't get one, just one.
I'll tell you why I like it. I like it because it enhances Kobe Bryant's mythology to me. One of the reasons that Kobe is number 2 in my mind of all time is because Kobe did, for the most part, the exact same thing Mike did. When Mike was on top, nobody ate. When Kobe was on top, very few people ate. You got Tim Duncan, and you got the Celtics. And you got a one-off Detroit team when Kobe was really trying to overly prove that I'm the man.
Who really had no real superstars on that team, that Detroit team.
And that's what I try to tell people. So you got 3 real squads that ate during Kobe's era. 3. The Spurs were the most dominant. Then you got the one-off, the 1 or 2 off Celtics and the 1 off Pistons. Nobody ate during Michael Jordan's career, or during when Michael Jordan was on top.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki has a championship when LeBron was on top.
Yeah. Which should have never been a loss. That should have never happened. It did.
But it did, though. Dirk got one. Paul Pierce got one. Steph got a couple. Like, everybody was eating during Tim Duncan got another one. Like, everybody was eating during LeBron's era. Everybody. He was dishing out championships like they were assists. Melo not being able to get his is because, like LeBron at the beginning of his career, Kobe was still the man.
True.
So you don't get to eat. There's only room for one of us at the top. It's gonna be me.
I like Kobe. You know, I like Kobe's game.
I didn't start liking Kobe until he became 24 Kobe.
I like number 8.
I was a Phoenix Suns fan at the time because I like Steve Nash, and so I had to hate the Lakers. Like, I'm unlike football, when it comes to basketball, I'm a fan of players, and so I'll take my favorite player and I will root for their team because I'm rooting for that player. I became a Steve Nash fan because I was a Phoenix Suns fan because I was a Kevin Johnson fan, and I just kind of lingered over. Barkley was my favorite, so I was Phoenix and Houston with Barkley. And he retired. I still need the squad. I'm like, all right, well, let me go back to Phoenix because they still got KJ. They're still kind of cool. I'll work with them. Oh, the Steve Nash character, who I used to hate because he was in Dallas. He's over here and he's a baller. Let's go.
They're pretty good squad. Raja Bell, Barbosa, Stoudemire.
They had a squad and got screwed by the league. Phoenix should have the second time Phoenix got screwed. So I will never root for any Phoenix team again. I don't care if a player I like plays for them ever again. Phoenix got screwed in that San Antonio game where Cheap Shot Bob, which I started changing his name from Big Shot to Cheap Shot. Yeah, he launched Steve Nash into the 7th row. 6 people come off the bench to protect Steve Nash like they should. 30 people come off of San Antonio's bench, and we suspend Phoenix's best players. And all
rules are the rules, Jesse.
Screw that. It's the intent. They didn't come out swinging. They came out to see if their player was okay. You launched our best player into the 7th row while he was walking the ball up the court at the end of the game like he was supposed to. He wasn't trying to move it. He wasn't trying to score. He was just trying to kill the clock. And you launched him.
Sending a message.
Here's the message. I'm going to break your leg. I guarantee you, if a couple folks like they got quit mentality were in that game, Cheap Shot Bob's now walking out that game. He'll be alive, but that nigga ain't gonna be the same.
Yeah, and that's where where the game has drastically changed. In the 90s, there probably would have been something done about that,
and should have been. Because here's the thing, even if it don't happen that game at the end of that game, right? I find out that the commissioner suspends our best players. I'm taking all the starters out. I promise you, I'm getting 2 texts and a flagrant the first 3 minutes of the game.
Set the tone.
Absolutely. Somebody ain't gonna make it out this game. Y'all got half my squad suspended because y'all know y'all can't whoop us. Cool, no problem. And you will never convince me that it was not strategic. That Cheap Shot Bob didn't know that if I do this, because I'm a bench player, so if I get suspended, oh well. But if I do this, I'm gonna take a couple of them with me.
It's pretty strategic.
And that turned the series.
Yeah.
So I hated San Antonio. I hated LA because Kobe Bryant punched a couple of our players in the game, but nothing happened to him. So I was like, nah, bump this. I can't be a Kobe fan. Can't be a Lakers fan. And then I don't know what switched me over when he became 24. It was like something switched in him, and it switched to me. I was like, you know what, Nick, I rock with you.
That was the more mature Kobe.
But I mean, on the court though, something on the court switched with him.
Okay.
Like his swag was different. It was something. It reminded me of Mike. I was like, this dude is the truth, and he knows it now. I'm a rock with Kobe.
Where do you rank Vince Carter? Because they said if he would have had a certain kind of work ethic, or not that he didn't work hard, but if he would have like really had that dog in him like that, he probably would end up being better than Kobe.
No, he wouldn't have. See, it's hard to rank Vince because I got love for Vince. Vince was a highlight machine, dude.
But he had everything. He could shoot. He could dribble.
No, he didn't. That's the problem.
What didn't he have?
No, he didn't. His jumper wasn't that wet, bro.
Oh man, his jumper. Go back and
watch the games. He had a decent mid range, and he was a dunker.
He could shoot threes.
No, he developed a 3-game later in his career.
Okay.
It wasn't early. When people was rocking with Vince Sanity for real, he wasn't doing that. It was all, I'm dunking on you in mid-range jumpers. I'm going to embarrass you. It was not the 3-game. He developed that when his legs stopped letting him be as explosive. And so I got love for Vince because there was nobody like Vince in the history of the game that could bring that much excitement when he dunked. Nobody.
Not even Dominique, huh?
Heck no. Dominique had
some really good in-game dunks, though.
He did, but he was always eclipsed by Michael Jordan's dunks. Vince Carter's a better dunker than Michael Jordan.
I think Dominique Wilkins was a better dunker than Michael Jordan. In-game dunker. Not dunk contest.
I think it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I'm not mad at either pick.
Okay.
I think Vince Carter's better than both of them.
I'll agree with that.
In-game dunker and slam dunk championship dunker.
Agreed. Some of the dunks he did in games was like, I can't believe you did that in a game.
In a game. That should be all-star in the game, bro? Really?
Right.
Like, so it's hard to authentically and accurately rank him because you have that quality, which also deals with in-game impact, right? At the same time, if you really look at his numbers earnestly, he's not top 25.
Hall of Famer, though.
Skip Bayless made a quote, and I hate quoting Skip Bayless, but he made a quote about the NBA Hall of Fame. And he said the NBA Hall of Fame has become the NBA Hall of Good. You don't have to be great to be in the NBA Hall of Fame anymore.
Vince Carter was
good.
Great. Vince Carter
No, he
was
wasn't.
Great.
No, he wasn't.
He was great.
No, he wasn't. He was great for the time.
Great.
He was great for the time, and there's a difference. There's greatness, and there's greatness for the time.
I think he was great.
What was Vince Carter's run? Where you think he was the greatest? What was his run?
As far as he had a great run when he was with the Nets.
So even if we take that blasphemy,
back to back championships, right? Wasn't good enough to win them, but he was a key component of why they
he
got
wasn't
there.
what? He wasn't what?
He didn't win.
So we're giving out participation trophies?
No, I'm not saying that.
So
participation trophies. But all I'm saying is he was a very key part of that team to why they got to where they were at.
And they lost to who again?
The Lakers.
Okay, so
how can Lakers were a better team?
How can you? The Nets team those years were stacked. What you mean?
No, I'm just saying the Lakers were
they had a better player in Kobe Bryant. They had a dude who said, "I'm not losing to this bum squad." And the Nets weren't a bum squad. It's just Kobe thought all squads but his squad were bum squads. Like, it's hard for me to say Vince was that dude when he's got the same type of resume KD has. If you remove the Warriors from KD's resume, Vince Carter, KD, same kind of resume. I can't say I find KD overrated with that resume, and that's the same about Vince.
Okay.
Vince is not top 25. Not with that resume, dude. Because beyond the Nets,
top 100 greatest players of all time.
Yeah, top 100, but there's a lot of great players that you got. A lot of above average players that you start getting into once you start talking about top 20. After top 20, you start getting to a lot of above average, nitpicky kind of picks to solidify in there. So yeah, it's top 100, but come on now.
All time.
But come on now.
That's saying
what you talking
something.
about? No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
The
It's not
thousands
saying.
and thousands of players that come to the NBA since the.
It's not say, it's not saying as much as people would like to think, because here's why. Now once you start getting the top 100, you have to start comparing errors. Then you have to start comparing a competitive balance of errors. You have to start comparing how we were able to score and all this other stuff. And then I start having my marker once I start talking about top 25 or above becomes, if I stick this player in another era, could they still be as dominant?
I think Vince Carter is one of the guys you could put in any era.
In the 80s, he'd have got murked.
Oh, come on.
Michael Jordan was a better athlete than him, just wasn't a better dunker.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Vince Carter, athletic ability. I think Vince Carter was I think he might be the most athletic player.
What have you ever seen? What have you ever seen Vince Carter do that you don't think a prime 1988-89 Michael Jordan couldn't do?
I just think when we look at highlight tapes of Vince Carter.
Did you answer the question? His highlight tapes look nice. They look nasty.
Super athletic though.
What can a prime Vince Carter do that a 1988-89? We're not even talking about super prime Michael Jordan. We're just talking about 1988-89 slam dunk championship winning Michael Jordan that he couldn't do.
I think he can pretty much do basically the same things.
So
I think Vince Carter did it a little better.
If Mike could do as a kid everything Vince could do in his prime, how can Vince Carter be a better athlete? The kid is doing what the adult does. Mike only got better athletically. Vince declined athletically. The great one of my favorite NBA calls of all time. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan in the LA game in the champ. That right there, Vince can't do that.
I definitely
Vince
think he can do that.
No, not that way. The hang that Michael Jordan had to pull that off. It's not the move. It's not the over-under. Basketball players do that dime a dozen. It's the hang that he did to do it. That's an athlete. Vince ain't doing that. I can point to everything that Vince did Michael could do if you asked him to do it. He was just never asked to do it. He was never asked to dunk between his legs, but he could do it. Everything Michael Jordan
make it look the way that Vince Carter.
So now we're talking about the look as opposed to the athleticism. I think
that goes.
That's style. That's style points. You're talking style points. That's style points.
Okay,
style points are only when.
It's like, hey, I'm athletic enough to jump up and grab this rim, but this dude can jump up and grab this rim and do a toe touch as he does it. I can't do that.
No.
He would make.
Michael could do it, but there wasn't a need to. Again, there's nothing that Vince could do, and this isn't me making the legend of Michael Jordan better than what or greater than what it was. There's nothing. I don't feel there's anything that Vince Carter could do athletically that Michael didn't prove that he could do.
I'm gonna have to take a poll on that. So I'm gonna make a status on Facebook.
Most people, I'll tell you right now, most people will agree with you, and that's because we're prisoners of Vince's style. And the further we have got, especially this generation, the further we have gotten away from the greatness that is Michael Jordan, the more we have chosen to diminish him. When this generation started making arguments that Scottie Pippen was better than Michael Jordan, I forfeited all hope.
That Scottie Pippen was, you started hearing that, and I'm like,
I forfeited all hope for common sense in sports talk. I forfeited it. Vince Carter is going to get more votes for a better athlete because we never saw Michael Jordan do what Vince Carter did. But just because you never saw him do it doesn't mean he couldn't. I think here's what I think. If I'm gonna give Vince Carter points, Vince Carter was more creative.
Okay, I'll go with that.
So the thought to go between your legs and dunk the ball, that takes creativity and athleticism. Michael Jordan was athletic enough to do it, just not creative enough to think about it. Because Michael Jordan cared more about winning than he did about looking good. I'm sure you saw White Man Can't Jump, right?
Yes.
Billy Hoyle had a statement about Wesley Snipes' character. I forget what Wesley Snipes' character's name was right now. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he had a comment about him. He said, "You would rather look pretty and lose than look ugly and win." Michael Jordan wanted to win. I don't care how it looked. I want to win. Vince,
well, we're just talking about athletic
good
abilities.
I know, but
scrap the winning.
But you win in the style. But this is what this is my argument against your style argument. The reason Vince Carter looked more stylish than Michael in doing so was because he cared more about being creative. Michael wanted to win. So even in an end game, when I have the chance to do a ridiculous dunk, for what? I just want to win. Get the ball in the hoop. I'm gonna dunk it, but only time I've ever seen Michael Jordan care about style is when he was pissed off because he wanted to prove something to somebody. So I'm gonna dunk on Dikembe and I'm gonna make it look real stylish when I do it. I'm gonna walk back like this because that nigga said in the locker room I've never dunked on him. Okay, cool. I'm gonna dunk on you now.
Vince Carter's dunk against Alonzo Mourning was way better than that dunk. Jordan's dunk against.
No, it wasn't.
What?
I'll tell you why. Alonzo Mourning was not known for shutting people down.
He was known for shot blocking, though.
Not like Dikembe Mutombo.
Okay.
All Dikembe Mutombo was good for was blocking shots.
The way that he did it. The way he dunked on Zoe like that.
Blood. You are crazy because you're looking at one impact of style and not looking at the other. The other impact of style is Michael Jordan did something that no one else did. Nobody was dunking on Dikembe Mutombo. Alonzo Mourning had been dunked on before.
I agree.
Mount Mutombo was known for not letting niggas dunk on him.
Vince Carter definitely dunks on Mutombo the same way he dunked on Zoe.
Hell, I ain't gonna say he didn't dunk. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna dunk on him, but he ain't doing it that way.
Absolutely,
at all. He's not even dunking on the way Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan sat him down. Absolutely. Crazy?
Stars.
Are you crazy? He made sure Dikembe saw him coming. I'm looking dead at you. I'm coming with this dunk.
And I'm a Jordan fan, but that dunk, it was like, yeah, you dunked on Mutombo, but he got no style points for that. Yeah,
nobody dunked on him.
Yeah,
once Vince tries to style, that ball's going the other way.
Negative. Vertical too crazy for that.
You were underrating Mount Mutombo.
No, I'm talking.
Or
about
you're overrating Vince Carter. Either or.
The greatness of Vince Carter's dunking ability.
No. Here's the thing.
We're saying he's a better dunker than Jordan, right?
Yes. And I say he's a better. And I say he's the greatest dunker of all time. Yes, but
so
that's
you're
not
telling
because
me he doesn't dunk on Mutombo better than Jordan.
Here's the thing: he's the greatest dunker of all time because of what we have on tape. It's not because I think that Michael Jordan can't do what Vince Carter did. It's because since Michael Jordan never did it and Vince Carter did, I have to rate the fact that Vince Carter did it. Michael Jordan had the ability to do it. He just didn't do it.
So because
again, he wasn't creative.
We had no proof of that really because we didn't see him do it.
No,
we've seen Vince do it. We've seen.
Here's all you have to do is use logical probability. See how big Michael Jordan's hands are, right?
Right.
That means he can palm the ball just as well as Vince Carter.
Right.
You've seen his hang time, which is better than Vince Carter's. His legs have had the split needed when he did the free throw dunk. His legs had the split needed to go.
How many people have done that dunk though?
Hundreds of people have done it since Vince Carter did it.
No. What dunk?
The between the legs dunk.
Vince Carter did a reverse 360.
So you saying Michael Jordan couldn't do that?
I can't say he didn't.
Dominic Wilkins could do it.
We've never seen him do that. When he did that in the dunk contest, I think that was the first time we've ever seen it.
But you're looking at creativity. That's what made the dunk contest so good back in the day. That's why they suck now. No one has any creativity anymore. Vince Carter was creative. No one matches his creativity. But if you said to Dominic Wilkins, if you said to Michael Jordan, do a reverse 360 dunk, I never thought about that before. Okay, got you. They could do it.
I don't think they do it like Vince.
I think they absolutely could. I don't think Dominique could do the between the legs. I don't think he had the hang time nor the ball control to do it between the legs. But Michael Jordan absolutely could. Michael Jordan, as an athlete, as just a pure athlete, is one of the greatest pure athletes we've ever seen in basketball.
Well, I won't argue that.
Which then means Vince Carter, in order to be a better athlete than one of the greatest pure athletes we've ever seen, would have to be close to the greatest pure athlete we've ever seen, and that's not true. It's just not true. And I'm not disrespecting Vince. I'm just calling it what it is. I like Vince. I love insanity when it was going on. Like, but let's call it again, because we've gotten so far. What generation continues to happen to greatness is we get so far removed from greatness, we start diminishing its greatness, especially when we're trying to elevate others. There was nobody we've ever seen like Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Agreed.
People did the same thing to Deion Sanders. Oh, he wasn't that great. That's because you just don't remember seeing this beast of a corner play. Oh, he didn't tackle. Yeah, but you know why he didn't tackle? No,
that's a myth. Because I just got done watching highlights of Deion maybe a few days ago, and he was out there hitting.
Watch him in Florida State.
Out there hitting.
Florida State fan. Hitting. And Deion came, he said, it came in Revelation, I'm not getting paid to hit. So he only hit when he had to. I'm going to protect my body.
Right.
But if he needed to, he would stick you. But he never really had to because the ball rarely ever got to you.
Right. Now, the comparison we have with him, like we just did Jordan and Vince. Better athlete, Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson.
I want to say Bo.
I won't argue that.
Reason I want to say
no answer is a wrong answer, I don't think.
The reason I want to say Bo is because the running back position takes way more skill and athleticism to do it really well than what people really want to give it credit for. And Bo Jackson was one of the greatest underrated running backs of all time. You want to understand how great Bo Jackson was as a running back? Go back in time, or never go back in time. Go find an old school store and go get Super Tecmo Bowl. Play with the Oakland Raiders. Play with Bo Jackson.
It's a cheat code.
And see what he did to people.
Yeah, that wasn't fair. It was like playing Tecmo Bowl. It was like, yo, you couldn't use anybody but Oakland.
Yep.
Because that's just cheating.
And you would be disappointed when Marques Allen, who is a Hall of Fame running back, would get in the game because Bo was tired. Or Bo, God forbid, somehow you actually hurt Bo Jackson in the game and now Marques Allen had to play. Now you mad because you got a Hall of Fame running back replacing Bo Jackson. That's how good Bo Jackson was.
Right.
So to me, it's hard to argue Bo. It's hard to argue against Bo for Deion in that regard.
But Deion played both sides of the ball and kick returner.
You're not gonna ask your running back in that day and age, because remember, they're also technically kind of two different eras. You're not asking your running back to play defense. Your star running back. You're doggone sure not asking your star running back, who's your workhorse, to do kick returns. Here's part of the difference.
He could have played defense. Could he have played defense, and could he have played it well?
Depends on what position you're putting him at. I think he could make a good end, a good D end. His speed and strength's gonna get him around to get to the quarterback. He could hit a running back. I think that's probably the only position you could put him at.
DN over middle linebacker.
Yeah, I'm not.
Cover middle linebacker?
I don't think Bo had the footwork to wind up having to drop back. You could put him in the flat, but I don't think you can drop him in coverage like you'd have to do an outside or middle linebacker. I just don't think so. Much like I don't think that Dion has the strength that Bo had, which is obvious. Bo didn't have the footwork that Dion had. However,
but definitely had the speed of Dion.
No, Dion's faster.
But not too far off though. Not even
Dion's
close?
way faster. Not even close.
Okay.
Foot race, Dion is smoking Bo. Smoking him.
Well, Bo ran what, a 4.3 40?
Dion, see, here's the thing that Dion had that it messed people up in regards to him. Dion had what we call catch-up speed.
Right.
Dion never kicked it in until the ball was in the air. So it looked like Dion couldn't run. It wasn't fast. All I say to people is don't watch him when he's covering. Watch him with the ball in his hand and see how many people caught him.
Basically baited a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baited a lot of quarterbacks.
And so as a result of that, people think, oh, but he just had average speed. He was a good corner. No, Dion was fast as hell. He caught the ball. It was not uncommon once he caught the ball in the interception that he was going yard.
Or close.
Absolutely. Like, it's almost foregone conclusion. That's why people stop throwing it Dion's way, because I'm sick of throwing pick sixes. So he's nowhere. Bo had nowhere near the speed. Nowhere near the speed. Dion has the speed and the footwork. Bo has the power, and I think Bo had better vision. So they're kind of at a wash there. So the reason that I take Bo over Dion is what I wind up doing is I look at their baseball career.
I look at them in football. Definitely a better baseball player. Even though Dion played it well, to I don't know, play in an NFL game and the baseball game wasn't the same
day. I think it was, yeah.
What did he do? Did he win the Super Bowl and play in the World Series in the same year?
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't know if he won the World Series, but I think he played.
I thought he did win the
Super Bowl. I think he
did with the Braves. Not the same year he won Super Bowl though. I'm pretty sure he won Super Bowl. I mean, a World Series.
Was it with the Braves or the Yankees? I can't. No,
I think it was with the Braves.
Okay.
I don't quote me, but I'm almost sure he won it with the Braves.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to check that.
Bo's baseball career, to me, was better. As a Royal, he was better than Dion as a baseball player.
I was too young to remember Bo's football or
Bo was a monster.
All I have is the highlights.
Bo was to football almost what Michael Jordan was to basketball. You had to like Mike. If I could be like Mike for basketball, you had the Bo nose for baseball and football. That Bo nose campaign was huge, but that's because Bo was just massive.
He had a cartoon. He had lunchboxes.
He was that dude, without question. I think it's a close race between Bo and Dion, but I'm giving it to Bo.
Okay.
And I love Dion. Dion is one of my favorite players of all time, of any sport. Like, favorite player, period.
Okay, so Deion Sanders, he was a part of the 1992 World Series with the Atlanta Braves, but they lost to the Toronto Blue Jays.
I thought they won the series. Okay.
So they lost. So Deion Sanders, Super Bowl ring, January 29th, 1995 with San Francisco. He won the second one with the Cowboys on January 28th, 96. So from 92 to 96, he played in 2 Super Bowls and the World Series.
Crazy athlete, yo. Like, there's only Bo Jackson I think is better. I can't fathom another overall better athlete than Dion other than Bo Jackson.
I mean, because how many athletes have we seen play 2 professional sports and were pretty damn good at both?
at high levels. You just don't. There's nobody. Nobody.
Michael Jordan.
This is
was trash
those two alone.
Trash.
Michael Jordan's heart wasn't in baseball. And here's the other thing, like, so I know I get what people were saying when Michael Jordan being a baseball player was trash. He never really played baseball all like that. It was something that was a dream of his dad. Because it was his dad's dream, but he played basketball. He didn't really play baseball in high school. He played basketball. He definitely didn't play baseball in college.
So speaking of that, you know, while it's on my mind, just to ask you, I don't know if you remember that whole debate of who would be better. Would basketball players be better at football, or football players better at basketball?
I think basketball players would be better at football.
Okay.
Conditioning is different. Football, you're not playing 42 minutes both ways, continuously running sprints basically up and down the court.
Yeah, you're running until there's a dead ball, or you could be.
And not only that, other than offensive linemen, the quarterback, and D-backs, who's not getting breaks in football? You get blown, you get a break. In basketball, you out there till the coach says it's now time for your rotation.
I think you got a lot of guys who 48-minute game. There's some guys who were playing 42, 43 minutes. You know,
there's no football player that's playing that long in a 2-hour game.
I mean, because you can't. It's impossible to do. Most, you're not playing both ways. But the last player I remember that really played both ways like that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deion Branch, when he played receiver for the Patriots and cornerback.
Yes.
Or was it Deion Branch, or was
no? It's Deion Branch. I think it was Deion Branch.
Okay.
No, I think it was Deion Branch.
Okay.
But I also think that, and football's my first love. I love football. It's the greatest game in the world to me. Basketball's a more skilled game.
Agree.
It's harder to play basketball than it is to play football. So if you can master playing basketball, mastering playing football is not that hard. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it takes skill to be able to dribble and run. It takes skill to be able to shoot a ball into a, whatever size hole.
And here's the thing: I'll take almost every basketball player that plays, put them on defense. They're the back. They're either outside linebackers or strong safeties, free safeties. Maybe some even corner, because of footwork.
What separate them is the physicality of football.
But as an outside, with the exception of outside linebacker, as a strong safety, free safety, as a D-back, you don't really need to be that physical. Not against big guys. How many great big receivers are there? None.
What's big?
I'm talking like Randy Moss size and strength. T.O. strength. Ain't too many of them left. Megatron strength. Ain't too many of them left.
Yeah, you're right.
So these basketball cats are bigger and stronger. I could be physical with you. I got the footwork to be able to run with you. I just need to be able to have the speed and the stamina. And with most teams playing either cover 2 or cover 3, I only got to play you so deep before I pass you off. I got to have vision. It takes more vision to play basketball than it does to play football unless you're playing the quarterback position. So I gotta have vision so I can see and understand where you're going based off your footwork easier than what you as a football player can see playing basketball to find the open man for an assist.
I mean, because we have examples of guys who have played high school, college football. I'm sorry, high school, college basketball, and have been able to transfer over into playing football. Antonio Gates.
I was gonna say one of the greatest tight ends of all time, Antonio Gates.
Tony Gonzalez.
Another all-time great.
I believe Jimmy Graham. I believe he played for Miami basketball also.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Another tight end. So that it seems like that's the position. Julius Peppers.
Yep.
You know, so
It's much easier
who's
transition.
who is now also a Hall of Famer.
It's much easier transition from basketball to football the other way around. It just is. Just also 82 games versus 16. Come on now.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I do. I get it, but I think there's no way you could play 2 football games a week.
That's my point. Their
Your
stamina,
body just wouldn't be able to take it.
but that's my point. Their stamina and their strength, because of their previous schedule, will kick in, and it's able to kick in harder because their body is used to going 2 a week, 3 a week games.
But they're also not getting punished like football players.
But if you're playing defense, you're not getting punished. You're trying to do the punish. I'm not putting any of them on offense. There's no basketball player I'm putting on offense, unless you're playing a tight end. But for my bang, for especially these athletes now, you're going defense all day long. I know they're tall, they're lengthy, so you think offense they can score. No, because I don't want them taking the punishment.
All right,
I'll make a ball play like Dion. Dion the Cowboys. Hey, protect your body, separate them from the ball. Hit if you have to. Other than that, protect your body.
Okay.
And they gonna win. You're gonna see winners. Just go. It's gonna be what it is. You're gonna see winners. Dion won championships playing that way. So y'all can't tell me that they won't win no games. Okay. You don't know your basketball. You don't know your football history. I can't say that about that.
I don't have any more sports questions.
Yeah, we're gonna forgo the pick your poison and bad opinions. I'm gonna get y'all back on here for another interview. I might just get y'all back on here for a full Real Talk podcast. I did not realize we have gone 3.5 hours with this one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my timer like 3.5 hours. But that's what I tell people that all the time, man. And I think we maybe even hit on it a little earlier. Once you get to talking, you may have I want to do an hour. I'm going to do an hour and a half. And, you go in so many different directions. Rarely stays on topic the whole entire time. And then by the time you look up, like I said, 3.5 hours have gone by and it never feels like it.
But I think I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this up and do a 2-piece.
There you go.
2-part interview. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, Doc. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I appreciate
absolutely got to get, man. I appreciate you for being on, and shout out to Candy. How about, because I had on my computer screen, I had me full screen. I didn't realize she had came back for a little bit. It was just sitting in the wait because it didn't pop it back in automatically. So she hit us up and let us know about 10 o'clock when she hit. She said, "Hey, really enjoyed the convo and listening to y'all, but I gotta go." So Candy, I apologize. We're gonna get you back on here. I promise it's gonna be good. And what I'll do is I'll try to make it like a Saturday evening, so it's not as hectic or whatever on everybody's schedule. But we gonna get y'all back on. This was great for me, if nothing else, because I love podcasting. Anyways, it was great for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it myself, man. Good conversation. The little banter back and forth. You know how it goes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely a good time for me. It's my second one. And usually, I'll do an episode and I'll kind of chill for a little bit. I used to do one every week. I would love to be able to do at least twice a month, 2 a month. That's pretty ideal for me. But shit, I did your show today. I did another one last week. So, I might as well just kind of keep this momentum going. I actually have a guy that I reached out to today to interview. A guy from around the way, recently released from prison. But I just want to talk about his life, also in the music. Some people would say probably the best rapper to come out of Alquip. Career was cut short of that because of, the jail stint. We think he could have actually have been something. So he was just released maybe a week or 2 ago. I reached out to him to see if we could just talk about his life, what he's been through, his music, and what he's got going on now since his release, or what he plans on doing. So I was supposed to call him a few hours ago, but I told him I was doing another show, and we could actually talk today. Great. If we have to wait another time, that's cool. But I think that I'd be the first person to interview him, maybe ever, and definitely since he's been out of prison. But I'm hoping it goes well. But the first thing that I like to ask people, depending on the type of caliber of person they are, if you're a street guy and I'm interviewing you, which I've done a couple of those, what don't you want to talk about? What's off limits for you? You know what I mean? That's usually the first thing that I lead with. The two guys that I did before, they said, hey, everything is fair game. So, that's what I needed to hear. But with this one, it may be a little different. I don't know. I'm going to definitely ask him. But, I'll be doing that shortly, hopefully. And, I'll definitely let you know when that one's going to come out. But, yeah, man, podcasting is so fun. It's actually kind of like, it's therapeutic for me. I've told that to people before too. Like I could just sit here, even if it's just me myself. You know what I mean? Just doing different things on a computer, doing different things on my task cam, making reels, creating whatever kind of content. It's just fun. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Some money does eventually come out of it, but if it doesn't, I'm content with that.
I feel that. I promise. I'm of the same mindset. I love doing this. I would love for it to do something, but I because I'm having so much fun doing it without it, I'm like, hey, if it don't, it don't. But this is a great outlet for me. Yeah. It gives me, especially for the position I'm in as a pastor, it gives me an opportunity to let my hair down and talk about some things, in a way I can't do across the pulpit, because there's a sacredness to it. So I have to manage that with this. So this gives me another outlet, and I just love doing it. Since I started doing this, I had a dream of doing stuff like this way back. So like, if you ever go on my YouTube channel, get into a YouTube poll on my YouTube channel, you will see something like, I want to say it's like 16, 17 years ago, I did one called it the Real Talk Pod. Well, I didn't call it the Real Talk Podcast, but I did call it Real Talk. And it is me, a camera, and my boy Jeff in my living room on a couch. Two-part interview that I did. And because this type of stuff is always stuff that I enjoy doing, talking to people, getting their perspectives on stuff, just having a conversation back and forth about whatever. Stuff's always been intriguing. Me and Russell, when he was live, we did one years ago. We was kids. I wish I could find the VHS of it. We're sitting on the couch. I got a keyboard in front of me like I can play. And we're just talking about everything from wrestling to how we hated school or whatever. Like, just stuff. So I've been doing this for you. I love this type of stuff, bro.
Yeah, man. I agree. But this is something that I never, ever seen myself doing. Never. Never, ever. Like, you couldn't have told me 5-6 years ago I'd be doing this. I'd have been like, yeah, you're crazy. But
bro, I get it, but I don't know why. Because you got the chops for it.
Yeah, it was just something like it's cool being behind a phone or a keyboard, and you can just type away. But it's little bit of a different ball game when you actually have to really voice and talk and present yourself in a certain kind of way. I just never thought I'd be doing this, but things happen for a reason, they say.
That's facts. So tell the folks where to find you at, so we can make sure that they subscribing to you and following you and whatnot.
On YouTube, you can find me at Correct Me If I'm Wrong podcast. This is the logo that you'll see. I got some
merch game is killing me. I should have had my shirt on today too, but go ahead.
Got some merch. This is also my logo in the background, so if you see that, that's me. Facebook is probably, like I said, the biggest audience that I have. I don't post as much as I should on my Correct Me If I'm Wrong page on Facebook, but you can definitely find most of my content on anything that I may post. And it's not all Correct Me If I'm Wrong. Everything isn't about Correct Me If I'm Wrong on my Facebook page, but you can find me on Facebook as Marques Jones, MarquesJones. Jones, same as Jesse. And yeah, for there, and I don't really do Instagram too much, but if you want to check out my Instagram, that would be at Quesm_13, QUESM_ONE, the number 3. And that's where everybody can find me. But if you can, you know, if you're listening to this, if you made it the last 3 hours and 41 minutes, yes, you know, hit my YouTube page up to Correct Me If I'm Wrong podcast. Like some of my stuff, share it if you want to. But at least subscribe to the channel. If you don't like or share anything, at least subscribe. Subscribers definitely help out. I'm only at 120 subscribers right now on YouTube, but like I said, on Facebook, I've got 3.2 or 3.3 thousand followers, which is still, to me, on the low end compared to what a lot of people have. But like I said, I have a decent following. But those are the platforms that you can find me on. Also, if you're into audio, pretty much all of my episodes are not on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube. All of my episodes from 1 to 46 are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. I don't think Google Podcasts does it anymore. I don't think it distributes from Spotify for podcasters onto Google on Google Podcasts anymore. I don't believe. But yeah, so if you want to just listen to the audio, Correct Me If I'm Wrong podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and what was the other one? Spotify, Amazon Music. Apple Podcasts.
Apple Pod, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't think many people look at, what is it, the good something. I think.
Oh, good space. Good Spot.
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good pods. I haven't been on it for a while, but my content is also on there. A lot of people like to listen to the audio, you know, trying to do other things with their phones, you know what I mean? Because watching YouTube videos, sometimes you can't go into another app and listen to YouTube at the same time. But on the audio ones, you can definitely do that. Most people who listen to the audio, they usually do it. You know, I've had some guys who are truck drivers, that's when they'll listen to the audio. Most people who are just driving in their cars, that's what they'll do. If you're at home, for the most part, people like to actually see and listen, so that's when YouTube is, I guess, the better option. But yeah, those are the places that, you know, you can find me if you need to. Jesse, I believe that, you know, when you were on my podcast, you know, we had like a cross following. You know, some of my followers who didn't know who you were checked out some of the things that you had going on. Hoping to get the same thing from some of your listeners and viewers. Check me out. I've had a lot of guests. You know, of course, my co-host Candoria, Leaire. But I do different things. My podcast. You're not going to listen to my podcast and be like, okay, well, I know, you know, what all of his shows are about politics or about religion. Now, I'm all over the place. You know what I mean? From sex toys to colorism, you know, talking about politics. But like I said, I pretty much talk about any and everything, and I think that's what makes the podcast so cool. But I also want to thank you for giving me the opportunity, you know what I mean, I've never been on to actually be interviewed, or I've been on a few other podcasts, but nothing that was really in depth or pretty much about me or, you know, the show and what we got going on. So I appreciate it, man. I really
no problem, man. You like I said, you've had me on your podcast too many times for me not to finally be able to get you on. Second, like, you were way more interesting than what you think, and so as best I can, I want to get as many people as I can to make sure they hear you. That's why I want to make sure that you had the commercial side, because I run that commercial still to this day through my podcast. It still runs. Okay. Like I make, because I want people to hear and experience what you bring, because what you do is just that dynamic, greater than what you think it is. So everybody who listens to the Real Talk podcast, he said, if you would like to, I'm gonna do my first call to action I think I've done in the entirety, like for real call to action in the entirety of the Real Talk podcast, I want y'all to go blow his subscriptions up. Before this month is out, I want him to at least have between another 50 to 100 subscribers to his podcast. So go ahead and light that bad boy up, share it, tell your friends about it. Y'all, he's not as long as I am, so you can get him. You could probably have gotten about 3 of his episodes in the time you got this one episode in on the Real Talk. So I promise you, it's worth it. Him and Candoria, I call Miss Candy because that's what she's been called anyway. So those two together, dynamic duo. I promise you, you will not be disappointed, and nor will you be bored. So check them out. Make sure y'all look them up. But yo, we gonna go ahead and call this a day. First of all, I'm hungry. I didn't know it's 11:30.
Me too, man. I ain't ate yet. I smell the food. I smell it, but you know what I'm saying.
My wife is cooking right now. Or has already cooked. She probably either ate or is mad at me waiting because I kept her waiting this long. So I'm about to go eat. But yo, y'all know what we love to say here at the Real Talk Podcast. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you go, do yourself a favor and always keep it real. This has been a Real Talk interview. Thanks for listening.
This is Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk. This is Real Talk Radio. This is Real Talk. High Praise Ministries presents Real Talk.